Yeah, thank you so much, and hopefully I'm lucky with the bandwidth today. Thank you, Hanan, to have me as a speaker today. I've been hearing to a lot of speakers all day today, and it has been fantastic. So my name is Birinder, as you introduced. I'm the CEO of Auxiliobits Incorporation. So we are a US based company, but we have the delivery center in India. So I generally travel between US and India quite often. So we are into process automation. So the robotic process automation is a new technology which utilizes AI, ML, and stuff like that to automate certain back office processes, and obviously support automation as a whole for an enterprise. So I'll quickly jump on to my presentation so that I can with the help of the slides I can let you know that what exactly we do and what RPA is, a brief introduction. Let me share my screen and let me know when you guys see it.
Birinder, for sharing, is somebody else sharing? If somebody else is sharing, please stop sharing.
C'est bon, Anand. Là, c'est bon.
Oh, c'est bon. Okay. Thank you so much. Now it's okay.
Okay, so you guys see my first screen of the slide?
Yes, and very well.
Okay, great. So, so we are into robotic process automation. So this basically is a technology that supports a fully automated enterprise. So if you add Internet of Things and robotic process automation together, so you will get fully automated enterprise, and that is what the Industry 4.0 should look like. So I'm Birinder Singh, CEO of Auxiliobits Incorporation. We are registered in Delaware. We have delivery centers in India. Uh, so what we do is, we do business process automation, which is more of, taking any process which can be automated, a low-hanging fruit or a complex process, and we do a process management there. We apply AI, ML, the OCR stuff around those processes. We even do process mining to get to know that what all processes can be automated within an enterprise, and then we provide end-to-end process automation solutions. So this is what we do as a company, right? So, according to me, there are three key drivers for Industry 4.0. One is that, as a stakeholder, as a business owner of a large organization, be it healthcare, manufacturing, BFSI, we don't, think about technology that is available. We think about the value that we need to add into our enterprise, right? Uh, and so this is how you actually drive Industry 4.0 within the organization. And obviously you don't think about tools that are available and that you will be replacing the people with, but you will think about the people, that how they can benefit out of the Industry 4.0, that if you bring it to an enterprise, uh, get it to a hyper automated, fully automated enterprise, how the people will actually benefit from it. And obviously, when you start, you have some clear goals in your mind, that this is what you want to achieve. This is what the productivity should be. This is what, things should be faster. Things should be smarter, more sustainable. And this is what the sustainable productivity should look like, right? So these are the three key drivers of Industry 4.0 when you start with. Uh, so and once you have the three key drivers, and you need to change your thinking into a hyper automation thinking, right? So a hyper automation thinking would mean, what are the connected components within your organization? How can IoT help me connect different components? The controllers, the machines, the shop floor, the back office, the people, right? The processes. How can they be connected? How can the back office automation support that hyper automated thinking? What are the processes that can be automated? Where can we apply the artificial intelligence and machine learning models that are available within the existing infrastructures or the technologies or the framework, or you need to build it from scratch, or you have some other data set that you need to train your models on. So this is how you get to start thinking about hyper automation when you're thinking about Industry 4.0. So what exactly is RPA? Just to give you a brief about robotic process automation and how it helps. So robotic process automation is basically, deploying software robots to automate processes within an organization. So, when we talk about the shop floor automation, the hardware robots, which are actually the robotic arms that work in tandem. So these are the software robots, right? So they just work like people as we do on a computer. Somebody is reading an email, somebody is logging into a system, somebody is interacting with a website, legacy system, the modern applications, just as people would do, right? With a keyboard or a mouse, the software robot can do that. The RPA technology basically is changing how the world gets the work done. When I say work done, is basically any standard process within the organization that can actually be automated. So you need to. So when we start looking at an organization which has automation potential, so we look at what are the processes which are standard, which have standard inputs and outputs, and these are something which can be automated, and we can have the full-time employee or the FTE hours out of it. So we deploy RPA software robots. So what are the advantages of it? So major cost savings. Obviously, when you apply RPA to a process, you get significant improvement to business metrics across industries. You can see that RPA is being adopted because it is domain agnostic, it is enterprise agnostic, business agnostic. You can use it anywhere where stuff is happening on a computer. So it saves you cost because you're automating stuff, right? So this is the basic parameter. You have accelerated transformation. So it gives you a quick ROI when once you deploy RPA software robots. You have higher accuracy. 57% of people say that it reduces manual errors. So when we deploy software robots, we try to achieve nearly 99% of error-free automation, right? So processes are having a greater resilience, right? And you can ramp it up and scale it up. You don't need to add more people. You don't need to get somebody else trained on the process. So you already have the bots. You can scale up your whenever the demand comes in, you can scale up your processes. You scale down the processes. This is how it works. Uh, so how does the collaboration of RPA and IoT transforms business processes, right? So these are the few things that I wanted to bring to the forefront. So it improves the data management. So when you get the IoT results, the RPA business, may help the business turn these data points into intelligent understandings, so that they improve their overall business processes. So the robots can send automated responses. For example, there is some action that needs to be taken based on some IoT parameters or IoT outputs. So RPA can do that. You can even enhance the operations. The RPA and IoT, can help, for example, an enterprise make better judgments based on certain, criteria or whatever output or data that RPA is being, fed into. You can even ensure the compliance, right? Even you can be confident that your business is always in the compliant mode, and while deploying software robots, whatever your compliance is being handled manually today can be done by a software robot. So these are what collaboration of RP and IoT can look like while you're transforming your business. How does RPA and IoT work together? And this is one of the examples, right? So, for example, IoT sensors collect information from the objects and surrounding they are put in. For instance, so let us take an example of a soil moisture that is detected using the smart soil sensor. The current location of a semi truck, gathered via GPS sensor, for example. Proactive replenishment, a smart, shelf sensor indicates the shelf's inventory level. So all these data sets can be combined with RPA technology and sent to a third-party application, and ERP systems to produce business intelligence. So business intelligence is directly, related to data, and we don't need to, get your existing applications modified to get some kind of a, business intelligence data. But RPA. So the most important thing with the RPA technology, it is non-invasive. So when I say non-invasive, it can work with any application, be it a legacy application, be it a web application, a desktop application, thin client, thick clients. It can work with any of those applications, and you don't need to have any APIs, written from those particular applications. So this is the trait of the RPA, which actually makes it really agnostic, right? So this is a saying that physical robots have already transformed the plant floor, but the software robots are transforming everything else. For example, in any enterprise, be it manufacturing, healthcare, BFSI, any service-based enterprise, any manufacturing-based enterprise. So it's pretty much it. So we have been working with a healthcare company, which is a remote patient monitoring company. It has devices which can be put on the patients, and they monitor the blood pressure, the heart rate, and everything. And those devices generate a lot of data, right? And they're connected to a backend cloud. And from that particular cloud, the RPA bot picks up the data and gives it back to the doctors and the providers in the form of their EMR entries, right? So the software robot, the RPA robot, logs into the EMR, enters that particular patient data in that particular EMR, and that can actually help the provider. You get the data directly on the dashboard from the devices. So I have a few slides which tells us that in manufacturing, how do you add more value with RPA robots? So for example, adding more efficiency and accuracy into your supply chain. So for example, the bots are preparing the purchasing proposals, they're collecting the auction bids, they're creating contracts, which was earlier used to be done by the human beings. So they are enabling real-time data gathering, collation, and reporting, across the supply chain. They're ensuring complete and compliant export paperwork as well, because with the OCR technology, the AI/ML coming in, the paper scans are being read by the software robots and being dealt with. So it's basically enabling real-time order delivery status as well. This is one of the use cases, and lead time reporting with robot-assisted shipment. Robots are handling, the details in managing products and services. For example, the product master data integration happens, and there is improved compliance. There are parts which are conforming to the different specs, and they are automating integration of technical drawings and bills of materials. So operations are being handled more smoothly by the RPA robots. For example, the bill of materials is being automated, the production is being streamlined, the POs and PRs are being taken care of automatically. So you can automate open exchange order reporting and uploads of service records and certifications into ERPs like SAP. So so as I say, so RPA is agnostic, so we can use it with any kind of ERP, be it SAP or any other. So we are streamlining customer engagements across all channels. For example, we are enabling a fast and automated price quotes, getting it direct to customer and retail. We are transforming customer experience with end-to-end automation in contact centers. We are providing more satisfying self-service, automated processes. Chatbots is part of the hyper-automated enterprise, but that is actually which we are doing along with RPA robots. So it's basically the scale and automating a lot of stuff which is happening apart from the shop floor automation and the connected devices. So apart from hardware, anything software is being automated by the RPA robots. Right? So this is one another slide which shows you that the employees are achieving more by letting robots to do more things, right? So earlier invoice processing, getting something, and then the finance department used to be in a hustle and bustle to carry out many processes at the back end. So that has been delegated to RP robots. The robots are handling onboarding, offboarding, and any administrative tasks. So this is how RP robots are helping, right? So here are the few use cases where RP and IoT have come together and delivered value. So for example, the work site, right? So there are compliance, quality control, and predictive maintenance where RPA robots can come in, they can track the numbers, they can compare the image of each product, and have help in quality control. They can also you know have the timestamps, getting the compliance within your processes, just based on certain data inputs. Agriculture, right? So we have certain IoT devices which are helping in agriculture, though. So the bots can, have can schedule the smart irrigators and obtain data from the cloud. The robots can either notify the farmer to start a smart robot, or they can begin harvesting. So we have use cases in supply chain as well, where inventory management and fleet management is being. So I'm not saying that everything happens with the RPA robot, but the RPA robots can actually, get into a support role, wherein they can speed up the processes. They can apply artificial intelligence and machine learning where it should be, right? And this is how it's being done. Real estate is another example where, RPA and IoT can come in hand, and bots are using camera data to identify the properties and the parameters, and smart temperature collection. So this is also, the bots can actually collect the data and have some decision making analytics around it. Cities, the power outage identification and water management is being done by RPA robots. But this some of the RPA challenges that we are facing right now, where we are implementing it. So once an organization or an enterprise thinks of bringing in RPA, so it can face certain challenges. For example, rather than bringing every thing in house, getting to develop everything in house, so they get into a hybrid center of excellence model, wherein they have some RPA sponsor within the organization, and then they collaborate with people like Auxiliobits to actually get their hands dirty with one of the automations, and then plan a larger or a greater automation roadmap. Uh, some people are not following best practices, so there are culture shocks as well within the organization, wherein people are just very excited at what RPA bots can do, but at the same time they're actually paranoid that it can eat up their jobs, and this is kind of an impression that it has, but it doesn't, because people are actually put into more productive role rather than doing a mundane routine task. So these are a few RPA challenges that come up, and this is my one of the last slides. I just wanted to get you so where RPA and IoT are heading, right? Uh, so as it says, it's the end game. So it needs to collaborate with each other. So each new technology, brings it with it problems that users must overcome, and the same is true for IoT and RPA. So it's not that everything will be very streamlined. We have the technology, but we need to think of how to apply it and how to get a good return on investment on it. So even in our increasingly modern and technologically advanced age, not all companies have the resources and capacity to take the advantage of these technologies. So IoT, I think this is major challenges, which are security and cost. Connected devices and sensors are still expensive, especially for individual users in smaller organizations, and there is still a risk of the security and the hackers and everything that come into picture. The automation technologies are poised to have major effects and eventually become mainstream. So, as I said, so a hyper automated enterprise or fully automated enterprise thinking is a must for a stakeholder or a business owner, right? And this is how you can actually build a greater, long-term roadmap for automation, wherein these technologies come in handy: the Internet of Things, robotic process automation, AI, and ML. So I think RPA has a long way to go. So we have just started a few years back, and we are seeing a lot of traction. So due to its agnostic nature, I think so. It's basically a long way to go, and we are looking forward to it. And yeah, I think that's all
Thank
I have
you.
for today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Birinder, for this presentation and this angle, the RPA angle with the IoT to serve the industrial and the smart industry. How it will be implemented or is implemented between, I mean, IoT and RPA? It's embedded API, customize it. What is how it interacts?
Yeah, so basically, RPA is something which is non-invasive. So when I say non-invasive, so you don't have to build an API or an embedded API. So anything that is happening on a computer, you can, you're accessing a legacy application which is getting some data from IoT devices. You are accessing the, business intelligence software. You're accessing a website. You're reading an email. You're reading some PDFs. So this all happens on this particular UI layer, and it has the capability of interacting with all these applications without getting into the API stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's mainly a software that you build to make it
yeah,
enter.
yeah.
Okay. This is clear. How AI will transform RPA and industrial processes in general? I mean, how AI...
Yeah, so basically, as I talked about the hyper automation thinking. So when you think of an enterprise, fully connected enterprise with all the elements in there. So when you're thinking about automation 4.0, you're thinking about IoT, you're thinking about connected devices, the robotic arms, you're thinking about the data that comes out of it, you're thinking about utilizing that data to get some business intelligence. RPA comes into picture wherein you can feed some data, you can have some input, and then when if you have a standard process around it, so you can just deploy a software robot and get those things to be done.
But when you mentioned that artificial intelligence, improve those processes or bring how what is the use case, at least the specific use case in this area?
Yeah, so they were use cases, right? So for example, an enterprise is receiving a lot many purchase orders, right? And they need to be get into an ERP, and then you have all those processes around the PO until it is being realized and getting to the invoice stage. So RPA can actually read all those different PO formats, extract data out of it using its own machine learning algorithm that it may be having, or a model it may be having. And then once you extract that data, you can get that data to actually get that process executed. So we have the invoice processing as well, right? So you receive invoices from your different vendors. The RPA can read those invoices, the data points from invoices, and then process those invoices to different ERP.
Yeah. Okay. This is clear. Thank you so much for giving us this angle, RPA angle, and how it will improve in terms of IoT. This is you helped us now to loop all the technology one by one. As I mentioned, it is important in its life day stream. Means maybe the agenda is very long, but people will come to share what they want really to learn. Maybe we did the connectivity. We went through all the processes, the security, and now we have starting to tackle other specific, angle like RPA and IoT. Thank you so much. Let's have 10 minutes break.